What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Black Belt Business Podcast. I'm your host, Elliot Marshall, and it is my goal with each episode of this podcast to share the stories, strategies, tactics, tools, and resources that will help you establish or grow your martial arts school. The Black Belt Business Podcast is brought to you by Easton Online. You can find all of our digital courses, martial arts curriculums, and resources designed to help you enhance your business at easton.online. So without further ado, let's jump into the episode. Jim, Phil, SBG Atlanta. What up, fellas?
What is
Good
up?
Elliot.
Guys, you are first. You are our first Easton Online clients that we met strictly through working together. Like, you came on board as on this first mastermind that we did. I don't think we can call it a mastermind anymore because masterminds end, and this one does not. I think yesterday was the last day, technically, of the 5 months. So, yeah, we're just working together, and that's how we met. So, welcome to the Easton Online podcast.
It's good to be here.
Yeah. So we're going to go individually here first to start. We're going to go with your individual martial arts stories and then how you kind of came together. Jim, let's go with you first. I know you're have more of a Muay Thai background, but where did this start for you? And then when did it want to become a business for you?
Can I pivot this to Phil? Because his martial arts story is really what got this started. And it'll segue into me a lot better if he goes first.
All right, Phil, as you drink your Capri Sun. As you drink your Capri Sun, Phil, talk to us. I love it. I agree.
I steal these from my kids all the time.
I agree. 100%. They don't last in my house either.
So like many people, I did karate and stuff like that growing up, but it wasn't until 2003 that I started training in what I consider functional martial arts. I was looking for something new and was about to get into Aikido, and bumped into a friend of mine, and he said, "Look, I'll take a blue belt by my side in a street fight over a black belt and any other martial art taught in America." And I said, "Well, what's a blue belt?" He said, "It's the second belt." I said, "Where do I go?" and he sent me to Romero Jacare Calvacanti, the head of the Alliance Association. And day one, man, loved it. Started training, just getting the crap kicked out of me. And for whatever reason, I thought that was awesome and knew that it was going to be the thing that I did for the rest of my life.
How old were you in 2003?
I was 23.
Okay.
So I started, later than some.
So we're the same age.
Yeah. 42.
Yeah, I'll be 42 in July.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah. Just turned 42. So,
all right.
So yeah. And then, started training there in jiu-jitsu, specifically added Muay Thai a little bit later, under Manu Into, and have been doing that ever since.
Okay. All right, Jim, your segue is.
So I did not want to lead that off and have him totally trump me and just blow me out of the water, because I actually started around the same time as Phil. Okay. But where his story is built with dedication and hard work, I trained for a year and a half and then was more or less on and off for about the next 8 years.
Okay.
And I don't want to say where I started, because it was, this, you were around back then. This was what, 2003, 2004. It was just a different landscape back then. And it was just survival of the fittest. And I enjoyed it because it was challenge. I started in jiu-jitsu well before I ever did Muay Thai, and I enjoyed the challenge and the adversity. But the community and the tribe was right. If you weren't part of the A team or the fighters, they really didn't care. So when I graduated college and training wasn't convenient anymore, I didn't make it a priority to train. I went and got a job and got a career. And the only time I could do jiu-jitsu was 6 a.m. And I did not like that school enough to keep training at all. I dabbled a little bit, but it really wasn't until I was 30 and I met with Phil that it became a full-time gig and a passion.
Okay. And jiu-jitsu again or Muay Thai?
No. So that actually, I had not a lot of Muay Thai experience when I met Phil. And for Phil and anyone else that saw me train, he could attest to that. And it was honestly the only reason I started training so heavily is when I met Phil. It was obvious that his passion was jiu-jitsu and that his students were just super rallied behind him. And I'd come to the gym and he'd have a class of, when there was only 100 members and there'd be 15, 20 people in his class, and in Muay Thai would have like 4. All right. So I was like, all right, I'm going to put my energy and wave my flag over here in this program just because it really needed it. And it just hit on a different chord. While
Sure.
I like jiu-jitsu, it just resonated with me completely differently.
When did you guys, what was your first business experience like? Was it together? Like, did you, like, what was that like? When you guys laugh here, so
We'll
there's
take
gotta be
we'll take a little stroll down memory lane here with you.
yeah, let's go with it.
Okay, so I started the gym in 2010. Didn't know
SBG.
It was called Eagle Training Academy at the time. So we've gone through 2 name changes. So it was Eagle Training Academy, then it became Gentry's MMA, and then SBG. We decided to do kind of an international affiliation deal, and we all changed our name to SBG. So I started in 2010. We started in, like many people do, kind of, grassroots, 1,800 square foot warehouse that smelled like mold and mildew, and then just grew. We put everything that we made back into the business and grew and grew and grew. Moved into a bigger facility. That one was 3,900 square feet, and I believe that's when I met Jim in 2013, and we met through Craigslist. I put an ad for a fitness kickboxing coach in Craigslist, and this dude called. We did an interview. I liked him, so I hired him.
I have to say, one of our best employees, Vanny Tran, she actually did this podcast. We met her through Craigslist.
That's crazy.
So very rarely does it work out through Craigslist.
We've never done it since.
Yeah, no,
we've never done it successfully.
I was the experience from Craigslist. Never did it again.
Yeah. So and then he worked for us for a little while, and then he can tell you more about his story, but he was in the process of trying to make a move into an ownership position anyway. He was looking for some franchises and some other opportunities. And then I think he realized that he stumbled upon something he could really rally behind. And we partnered up in 2013.
Yeah.
And been
rocking. So Jim, you had a job though, right? You said you graduated college, got a job, right?
I was managing a gym at the time, and we were bought out by a larger company. They let us all know they were going to restaff, and we had like 60 days. I had been saving money, and I had some other things, like Phil mentioned, that I was going to go out and pursue. And in the interim, knowing it was going to take time, and I couldn't just not work for several months. So I was like, I'm just going to find some part-time gigs that I can do just to keep myself busy. And that's when I saw his ad. And I went up and visited the spot, and he hired me on the spot, which has also never happened again. It probably will never happen again going forward. And man, to be honest, I don't know if I ever told you this, I almost didn't come back. And it wasn't because, anything of the business, but I told you when I started, it was only going to be short term, that I wouldn't be around for very long. He was just so overwhelmed and trying to do everything, like sales, marketing, coaching, growing the biz. I don't think he really cared. He was like, cool, can you be here 3 days a week?
Like, cool, you'll take 3 days off a week off my plate. I don't give a
Let's go.
Great. Okay.
I never had any aspirations of being in the martial arts business. And it was maybe a month or 2 in that, all joking aside, I could see he had something. First and foremost, I could tell he was super overwhelmed, legit trying to do pretty much everything. But even though it was a small operation and it was kind of bare bones at the time, his students were just stupid passionate about it and following what he was into. And so was his staff, which was pretty remarkable considering he was funding it himself. It was really just I've started part-time, when you had another job. So just the fact that he was able to build that from really having very little resources, I was like, this could be good.
2 other jobs.
And I asked him what he thought about potentially pooling our resources and skills and money together. And he said no. And I don't know what happened in the next 3 or 4 days, but then he came back and said, all right, let's meet and let's talk about this.
I mean, I think that's a good call originally. No. Yeah. Business partners are difficult. I fucking love them all. And he loves me, but God damn, are we difficult for each other? Because you're married. You're not, it's not just a partnership. I am as tightly tied to him as I am to any other human being in my entire life, including my wife. Like, the only difference is we don't have sex, right? So like, other than that, like, almost every financial decision you have to run through them because it affects them too. So what made you say yes to the partnership, Phil?
Desperation. No, I mean, Jim said it before, I hired him after the first, the interview was kind of short. I've always felt like I've been pretty good at reading people, and just watching his passion for the business and for the organization. And, even then I didn't hire a whole lot from the outside. Most of the hiring came from the inside. So he was kind of rare in a lot of ways. Not only Craigslist, but just hire from the outside in general. But I had a good feeling about him. And when we first met, I really liked him. And then, he would join us for the all staff meetings, and he had great ideas and it was just very forward thinking. And a lot of my staff at the time, like Jim said, they were bought in, they were 100%, they were willing to do whatever it took, but they weren't really coming up with ideas or bringing much to the table. They would implement my ideas, which is, obviously I'm grateful for, but I needed somebody else to partner with. And I don't know. I just chewed on it for a little bit after he made the initial offer and decided I'd take the risk. Right. And you're right. I knew it was a risk. I had partners in the past, and I usually like working on my own. Right. And, I took the risk, and it's worked out. It's been awesome.
So I think that first staff meeting was what really started to sway it. Yeah. Because I remember sitting in here, and he was asking questions about just how we could improve the gym and in general. And I remember everybody else just giving real, like, everything's cool, it's all fine. I put my hand up, and I had like 5 or 6 things that were ready to fire off, just because I knew that's what you needed. Was honest feet. Yeah, they weren't real. It didn't ingratiate me to a lot of the current stuff.
They hated them. I had so many meetings, and Jim's not only the vice president, he's a client, right? So Jim was a little chunky when he came to us. Okay. So I had some hateful shit being said to me, like, we don't hire fat people. Who is this guy? Da 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 da. Oh, it was funny.
I was a new guy coming in with big ideas and stuff, and we met with some skepticism.
Yeah. But
apparently it worked out.
It was great.
So when you guys think back to that time period, right? 2013, when you partner, and obviously you're going to try to take it bigger here, right? That was the goal, not, was growing, correct?
Oh yeah.
What were some of the pain points? Like what was going on in 13, 14, 15, the early stages here that you really had to overcome?
I think the biggest pain point is we didn't know where we were going. Right? We knew we wanted to go somewhere that was bigger and better than where we were, but we had no real vision of what that was. We didn't know what we wanted to gross, what we wanted to net, how many schools we wanted to have, how much staff we wanted. We didn't even know what programs we were just, even though we had been open for 3 years at that point, there seemed to be a lot of self-discovery in terms of the business and how we were going to operate, and who our ideal client was, There was just a lot that we hadn't learned. So we were going nowhere fast, really, pretty much. I mean, we were growing, but we didn't really know what direction we were growing in. So I think from that spawns all types of pain points, right? You don't know where you're going to spend your marketing dollars because you don't know your avatar. You don't know what to put your energy and time into. And I think since then we've learned a lot about, we've become very dialed on who we want and how we want to do it and where we want to go. I think
that's such an important thing, right? And we go over it all the time with Easton Online, like we went over it with you as well, is people think it's all about this marketing thing. They're like, oh, they sign up for these programs where it's like get 100 leads in 30 days. And it's like, get 100 leads.
Did you read my testimonial to you today?
I didn't. I saw it. I forwarded it to Jordan. What you just, what was it? Go ahead. I mean,
oh, it's funny that you say that, because I mentioned that this isn't my first business coaching group.
Right.
And that most business coaching groups focus on marketing and sales, and some of them are very gimmicky marketing and sales. And I thought it to be a breath of fresh air to focus more on company structure, focus on operations, and focus not only on our clientele, but also on our staff, right? Because those are the people that are going to carry us where we want to go, right?
Through the next pandemic.
Right.
Through a global pandemic that we're all dealing with here. I talked, we had our company party last Thursday. Man, I told a story, you always have to talk, right? As the owners, I told a story. My grandfather used to walk around the house, when I was a kid, and he used to, he was older, he used to have a stick or his cane, and he used to hit the house, be like, oh, the foundation, in his Eastern European Jewish voice, the foundation, Elliot, the foundation. And that's where it all starts. You can market all day long, right? And you can do sales all day long. But if your foundation is not strong, if you don't know who you are, where you're going, the things that we're talking about, then you're fucked. You're gonna, it's going to come in one way and out the other. So thanks for that testimonial. Yeah. That is such an important piece of any business structure. And I think so many martial arts schools miss this, because they're like, oh, if I just teach martial arts and I get people in the door, but it's not that, right? What have you seen from your end, Jim, of like, as the school's grown, like those pain points that come up, right, with the culture and the staffing problems that you've had to work through? So, because that's so much of, what happens with martial arts schools and where it starts to go wrong.
No, what are you asking me? What are the problems?
Like as you grow, right? As you grow, there's just way more problems with your culture and your staff, for example, and it's hard to keep track of them. How have you guys been able to keep track of them? Sorry, my bad.
I thought you were just telling me. I was like, that's
no. Sorry, my bad.
Good wisdom. One of the things we've been super clear about, really from the beginning, even when we really needed every paying member we could possibly get, is that one little drop of poison can ruin the entire well. And just to cut it out. If there's somebody that doesn't jive well with the crew, they're a bad training partner, they're negative, they're always, talking smack about other people, we just let them go. It doesn't matter how much money they owe us, or even if we've had to let people that we personally like go because they make other people feel uncomfortable or threatened, or a white belt that insists on wearing a black belt during the beginner's class. Like, there's just
from another martial art.
I don't even think it was. I think he just bought a black belt and got pissy when we told him to take it off.
What? Yeah, he was a very interesting guy.
And our what was in the Marines? What was he?
He's a first sergeant.
Yeah, our first sergeant GM was just gone. That was his last day. But from the beginning, we've
that's insane.
Yeah, people don't believe that story, but we've been on video back when I was brand new, back 13, 14. As soon as someone becomes cancerous or just isn't a good fit, we'll gladly turn their billing off and let them go. And then even the ones we don't, typically the people that just don't jive well with our tribe, they usually wash out fairly quickly.
There's that saying, especially with your staff, hire slow, fire fast. Right? Like it's very true. You cannot I hate to say this, it's not like you're like, oh, you fuck up and you're gone. It's not that. It's not like mistakes, right? You can make mistakes all day long as long as you see upward mobility and not upward mobility. See, like, hey, they're trying, they're getting better, right? It's like a student. They don't have to be a world champion, but if they poison it, they're not trying. That's where it starts to end, you know. So you have to get rid of them very quickly. I agree. When you guys got going and you became successful, right? And then you tried school number 2, correct?
Oh, Sandy Springs. Wow.
Okay. What happened?
So I got a call from a jiu-jitsu buddy of mine that I came up with at Alliance and continued to train and be friends with. And he had started his own school and was struggling a little bit. And he came to me and asked me if I would just take over the school and assume his debt. And it's a pretty sweet deal. So we took a crack at it. Very little time, energy, or effort into discovering how to run 2 schools successfully. So we were kind of shooting from the hip, winging it as best as possible. And I got to tell you, it was probably one of the best educational experiences that we've had as far as multiple locations. We learned a ton from it. And fortunately, because of the deal that we got and the fact that we were able to sell the location on the way out, we didn't lose on it. Okay. So to make as many mistakes as we made and still walk out kind of break even was pretty fortunate for us.
What were some of the mistakes?
For starters, taking us out of our primary location.
Yeah,
that was big.
It was mostly related to staff, including us. We hadn't built a stable enough team for us to walk away from our primary location. And then when we realized that and tried to plug somebody else into the new location, they weren't really armed with the tools that they needed to make that place successful. Okay. So they ended up learning a lot. We ended up learning a lot. We ended up bringing that person that we had sent down to Sandy Springs back into our Buford location. And he's now in a leadership position there. And now we have set up that gym with a general manager and directors and all the positions so that it's self-sustaining. And now we're taking the big dogs down and opening location 2. When a lot better so far.
When you're dreaming big now, right, for your schools, what does that look like?
3 for us. So we want 3. And then I would love to help some of my black belts open their own school and potentially do a partnership to some degree with that, or just help them in exchange for something. But I see us spreading beyond the 3, just not me or Jim actually running more than 3.
Got you. Owning or not owning?
Owning a portion of. You're talking about the ones outside of the 3? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't. I'd love to have some equity. I like ownership.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
But I don't want to run the day-to-day or build it out or do anything.
Oh, I feel you. Fuck, no way. No way.
These are going to be questions we have for you.
Yeah, no, man. I don't run the day-to-day on any of them. I want no part of that. I'm not even good at it. You know, I'm not even good at it. Where I'm best is on the mat. I'm best in front of people. So I understand that about myself. Like, look, I can manage it, but it's like I don't know. It's just not my thing. It's
not the best use of your skills.
Yeah, it's not the best use of my skills. This is the best use of my skills, like talking to people, making relationships, getting, in every sense of that. So I feel you. But yes, there is definitely a way to do it. And sure, we'll talk. So when you look back 10 years ago, what do you wish you would have known, Jim?
Oh, Jesus, man. If I could go back 2 years, what I would have known.
Okay, go back 2 years. I don't care. It doesn't have to be 10. You know, when it comes to like running the schools, like what if you could go back 2 years, what would be like, you know, top 2 things that you would tell, you know, 2019 Jim?
If I was just looking at me just selfishly on my own, I would have started letting go of things a lot earlier, and trusting other people to be able to do it, right? Because you always feel
letting
like,
go of responsibilities, you're saying.
yeah.
Mhm.
And you know, with that constant, it's something I'm still working on is, you know, being able to have faith in somebody else to do it. Even, man, I'm not the same, but almost as good, you know, and that fear that it's just going to blow up in your face. And along with that, I mean, that kind of segues right into number 2 is just probably even more so is the right way to give people tools ahead of time to succeed, rather than just assume, you know, well, they're good at, like, this person's good at sales, so he can fill this position, no problem. Like, can these people lead, right? Can they inspire? You know, looking at the actual way to run a division as opposed to, you know, first and foremost is being scared to have someone do it and then being like, all right, well, here's the playbook, just go do it.
Such an interesting thing, right? The difference between somebody being amazing at sales, right? Which is, and then all of a sudden you make them like your sales manager, because now they're not really selling anymore, right? They're helping other people sell. So that's managing, that's not selling. Those are 100% different skills. So
I mean, how many times have we had this frustration with like a coach, right? You think someone that's come to your class 1,000 times would coach like you, and they don't, right? They're great at jujitsu or Muay Thai, not so much at coaching other people how to do it.
Right. Yeah, that's a huge one. And then vice versa. Yeah, that's so common. And then if they try to be like you too much, like I find that one to be a thing, right? They try to mimic you. Another one of our employees, Peter, he was on, you know, the thing, we talked about it. He was like, I was just trying to be you, but I wasn't you. Yeah. Right. I'm not the owner. I'm not Elliot. So, but I'm trying to be Elliot. And it's just this knockoff version. And it just didn't work, which is awful.
And it's super unauthentic.
That's the word I was thinking too. There's value in authenticity.
Phil, how about you, man? When you're thinking back, what you could tell yourself, you know, what are those things?
So 2 years, I would say there's a pandemic coming.
Invest in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Bitcoin,
and Zoom,
Bitcoin, Zoom, Ethereum, Amazon.
Yeah. If I was going 10 years back, I would say start with the end in mind. So figure out what it is. And it's hard to do, right? Sometimes you got to get going and kind of figure out the terrain a little bit before you can really map out how you want it done. But I think that I could have done that a bit more early on, right? I was big into the marketing and the sales things that we were talking about earlier. So we were heading that direction, but there were a lot of times where it felt like we were going nowhere fast. You know, we were doing all this work, but it was just wheels spinning. And, you know, that's great. You know, you can get some awesome marketing tools and you can get some awesome sales tools and you can bring students in. But if your systems and programs aren't on the level, and retention systems is one in specific I'm thinking of, then they might be going out the back door as fast as they're coming in the front door, right? So looking at the business holistically and doing that from the standpoint of you know, where do I want to be in a year? Where do I want to be in 3 years? Where do I want to be in 5, 10? Mm-hmm. That would have been very helpful. And then, I think the second thing would be trying to replace myself faster. I think that both of us kind of failed in that regard to a certain extent. And that's just trying to hold on for too long. And it's just detrimental. It's tough, right? Because you don't like, how am I going to pay this GM? How am I going to do this thing? But the moment that I stepped away from working in the business as much and dedicated more time to working on the business is the moment the business was able to explode.
Right. Because you can scale it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't scale yourself. It's impossible.
Correct.
Right. You can't make another one. Your mom and dad did that and that's it. Done. You know? So,
I add a third thing, because I know you've done this as well. Don't do CrossFit. That would be the third thing that I would add. again.
You guys did it too.
Yes.
Yeah, it's terrible, right? Look,
Outside
yeah,
of
here.
our wheelhouse.
Look, one, it's outside of your wheelhouse, and two, what you can fit 10 CrossFit students in, you can fit 40 martial arts students in that space. So you're not maximizing your space even close, you know? And you talk about an incestual culture. CrossFit takes
that
the
last
cake.
year, we couldn't, neither one of us would write the affiliation check. And that was how we ended up leaving. You wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it.
That is how it ended. So they
No.
sent me the paperwork and the check for the affiliation. And I sat there and looked at it for probably 15 minutes. I was like, I just can't.
Yeah.
I can't. And I passed it. I passed the checkbook and the document at the gym. I was like, if you feel passionate about this, you sign it. He couldn't do it either.
Yeah, it was like you passed me
Look.
a turds. Like, we're out.
I should have run from the beginning, because I guess you can't just be an affiliate, CrossFit level 1 certified and own the affiliate. And somehow I talked them into it for me. Right. Like, and I was like, that should have been the red flag of like, oh my God, like you can be a nobody and still no, this can't be good. Right. This can't be. But you know, everyone thought it was going to be the savior there for a while. And then obviously it wasn't.
Those dollars, but man, they made some money during their years.
Yeah.
Did you go to the affiliation? Did you go to the training?
Yeah, I'm a CrossFit level 1. I was a CrossFit level 1 certified trainer, bro.
How many people were in your class?
I don't know, a couple hundred.
Paying $1,000 a piece.
Dude, I have to say, I made like the person that I randomly sat next to, he actually we did a podcast, Park Roberts. He became one of my amazing employees, and now he owns his own gym, and he did not CrossFit. He's, you know, his place is called Boulder Athletics, you know? So we we literally just happened to sit next to each other at the level 1, the first day.
That's awesome.
So that was the only good thing that was an amazing thing that came out of it was he and I are buddies, and now he has his own career and he's going and doing a great thing. You brought it up a second ago about pay and about these, you know, these marketing and sales systems that are like, oh yeah, do this. The problem with them is they greatly increase your revenue, but they also greatly increase your expense, most of these programs. So sure. And that doesn't work, right? Like if you increase the revenue at the same amount you increase the expense, you just have more people with more problems for the same amount of money, which is a major pain point for most martial arts academies. And I think it's because they pay a lot. They're GMs based on revenue. And one of the things that we, you know, and we're getting you guys to do as well is you pay based on revenue to a point, but then there comes a point where you have to stop paying based on revenue and you have to start paying based on profit, because now the general manager really learns how to look at like, whoa, what's this going to cost? You know, I can't just blow it out of the water on both ends. So that's, you know, one of the little nuggets of things that we really try to help people with is understanding how to pay people in a skillful way that it actually works out for the bottom line, which is the two owners. Question. You guys, you sent me your books, you know, when we first started, and your books are good, right? You guys do well for yourselves. Why did you sign up for Easton Online? Like what made you, you know, I know Paul put you in contact with me, you know, because I'm friends with, you know, with Paul, Kanzia, but what were you, I mean, you seem to have it a little bit. Like if I showed your books to other martial arts schools, they'd be like, yo, fuck yeah. You know, you don't need this.
Well, yeah, I disagree with you, but thank you.
Yeah, I disagree with you too, but I'm not trying to talk you into canceling.
Yeah. You know, thank you for the commentary on the success of our business. But for me, I like to live in a growth mindset. Right. And so, you know, I'm never going to be satisfied or done growing. I think the moment that one is done growing is the moment that they start going. So for us, I look at you with multiple schools, you've got a successful system as far as management and just the whole accountability chart and the structure of your organization. And so for me, I'm always going to seek out people that are doing it on the level that I want to do it. And I'm happy to pay those people to teach me how to get where they are. And I love being part of a group. I've been a part of a business group for, I mean, as long as I can remember, probably 6, 7, 8 years now. And you know, there's been a couple where it's kind of womp womp, but that's the rarity. You know, most of the time I'm able to take away enough to bring the business to the next level, you know, and then the next level. And so, yeah, I think the moment that I get to a point where I feel like I've got it all figured out and that I don't need advice or help from anybody anymore is the moment that I've stepped into a really scary position and that I'm at the most risk personally.
I think that's probably one of the things that we do strongest is we're just, as not as people, but as a business, are incredibly self-reflective and very self-aware. And I think we realize there's a lot of things we do well, but there's nothing that we do the best. And there's always somebody out there that does it better. And your model, I mean, you've proven to do it really, really well. So I don't think anywhere locally does it like we do, but you look big enough, there's going to be people that can do a lot of things that you can look at and grow from and take new ideas in. And that's what he was the one, Phillipe, that found you. And that was, I already listened to your podcast.
Before you signed up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it was either you or Rory Singer. I can't remember who first turned me on. It was you.
It was me. So we were heading up. I was actually coming to see you. I was coming to visit you. Matter of fact, we still have those Delta.
We still have vouchers.
So yeah, we were coming to see you in March, and I don't know if you remember, but I actually had Paul reach out to you and just confirm that I could swing through the school.
Yeah. Okay.
We were going up there for
some conference.
It was some business conference.
Okay.
The Satori something or other. Anyhow. And so then I caught wind and kind of went into a rabbit hole learning about you and Easton, and got excited, started checking out the podcast, both of your podcasts, and
gospelfire.com. No. ElliottMarshall.com. No.
Yeah, man, I think we're on the same page business wise. We have similar philosophies. I'm not a turn and burn operation. I never will be a turn and burn operation. I'm not turn and burn with my students. I'm not turn and burn with my staff. We care a lot about customer service. We care a lot about providing a fantastic environment for not only our students, but for our staff, and giving them the continued education that they need to continue to grow. And it just seemed like we were aligned as far as that's concerned. And to me, I think that's a big deal these days anyways. What's your success philosophy?
Yeah.
And I get these, of course I still hear advertisements of marketing and sales. And to me, I can't go down that path anymore. To me, I'm looking at business a little bit more holistically these days. And it seemed like that you guys were doing.
We got lucky. Yeah. We got lucky that we met some really good people at the right time for our business. And then we got lucky in the sense of how close we all were, that we, I think one of the things that makes business partnerships and staff work is, God, you can fight like banshees behind the scenes, but then when it comes to the forward facing end of what happens, it always looks like rainbows. Yeah, it always. And I think that's a super important thing. What would you say, as we close up here, what have you gotten most from Easton Online? What has been the most beneficial and helpful? Jim, you go first.
For me, it's having a direct pipeline to you and to Valor, which I've been a part of mastermind groups too, where that's just not a reality. Or if it is, it's some stupid astronomical extra fee, right? You get like this, you go to a group where you're in there with like 50 people, and then if you want direct access, to the brain, you got to pay a bunch extra. So we have, I dig having the group with everybody else where I can not only learn, but contribute, but then having direct access with you is incredibly helpful because then I can ask questions that directly pertain to us, right? Stuff that maybe I don't want to ask on a Friday because I feel like everyone else will just be like, all right, this doesn't pertain to me. But being able to list questions out specifically that we're dealing with is huge.
Yeah, the IDS
a lot of
sections,
people,
right?
yeah, and our direct pipeline that we can ask about that kind of stuff who have been, especially with a second location, knowing that you've been through it and done it well is huge.
For sure. How about you, Phil? What's been the number one?
I mean, that's a big one, but for the sake of not being repetitive, I got to tell you, I think, traction was one of the things that we had recommended to us years and years ago. We read the books and implemented some of it, right? That's how our company structure kind of got set up. But we had not, we had not gone deep with that process like you guys had. And the organization of the meetings, the way we hold our staff accountable now, and in turn hold ourselves accountable, right? Because we got to-dos and things that we need to show up with as well. So I think the unity that's been created around that on our team, and by team I mean the staff, our employees, and us, has just been incredible. We're getting more things done. We're having tougher conversations the right way, and because of that, I feel like the vibe amongst our staff is really strong right now.
Traction's a game changer, right? Traction, really implementing traction is such a game changer. And from all the way from like the VTO and the accountability chart, all the way down to the scorecard and the to-dos, right? Where you just be like, look, did you do it or not? And like, there's no like, if the answer is no, right? Like, it's not like everyone gets all their to-dos done, right? But it's okay. There's a reason. They know it. They're not just like, you didn't tell me to do that.
Right.
Like, man, it's right there. Right. It's right there.
Yeah.
So
you wake up every morning, I've got 5 red traction to do, staring me in the face. All right, I got it.
Well, it makes Sundays a little bit busier.
right. Sure.
I've got Monday meetings, and that there's some to-dos that haven't been done.
Yeah. And just, and like you said, Phil, the structure of a meeting, right? Because everyone hates meetings because they fucking suck. And you feel like what did we do? I can remember. So we used to hold meetings before traction, and like, we would either end up yelling at each other or looking at each other, be like, what was the purpose of that?
Yeah. Ours is usually the latter. I'm the visionary in our company. And so I would come to the meetings and have all these ideas, but would never assign them to anybody.
Right.
And so after the meeting I had finished, I'm like, yeah, man, it was awesome. And everybody else kind of like, that
was a waste of my time.
Listen to your ideas for about an hour.
Right. Yeah, that was a waste of my time.
With your family.
So we have household traction meetings now.
All right.
Yeah, everything
Nice.
everything in my life is run through traction.
Mine too. I've tractioned my life. I have a 10-year goal for my life. Yep. Oh yeah. I 10, 5, 3, 1. What do I got to do this quarter?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yep. I tractioned my whole life. And even the people that I work with, we traction their life, because it just works so fucking well. Like outside of Easton Online, like on a personal level. All right. What's got to happen by January of 2023? And then you just go backwards. So
I remember we read that book. I thought we had our stuff so together. I remember reading it at the beach. You had already read it, Get a Grip and Traction. Yeah. I come back and I was like, oh my God, we're so screwed up. It changed everything.
Yeah, traction's a game changer for sure. So guys, that's it. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys coming on. I appreciate you guys are you guys are great to work with, because you do your to-dos, you get shit done, and it's not like pulling teeth. I have to say all the guys in the group really are. I would say you guys are the most successful, everyone that we have in the group. So that's how we made the decision to start with you guys first, because you have it going already, you were already successful. So great work. It's our pleasure. I love our meetings. I love working with you guys. So thanks so much. And thanks for doing the podcast. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. We love being a part of it.
There's some hungry guys in that group, man. We're gonna defend our crown.
Yeah.
Motivation. You guys are hungry.
Yeah, people are coming, and it's good. Like, and it's really cool to see how people's lives have shifted a little bit, like their entire life of like, whoa, I can actually do this. Right. Where before, like, I think a lot of the problem is you don't even know where to get started sometimes, so guys, that's it. As always, go check it out, Easton.online. All of our offerings. We have just launched one of our new offerings called Off the Mats, where it's $15 a month. You can go check out. It's one monthly lesson, and the library is just going to build and build and build. I think we released 2 to start, so we have 2 months going to start. It's super low cost on the front end, and you can just get a taste of what it is that we have to offer. So hopefully you'll find much more value than the $15 a month. I hope that's what you guys have felt, more value than what it is that you are paying for. So that's it. Jim, Phil, I hope you guys have a great day. And we are not on this week, right? We were on last week. We'll see you in the big meeting, correct?
See you on Friday.
All right. See you Friday, fellas.
Later.
Have a great one, everybody.